Oh my God. Getting into the third one, this is the highly anticipated, highly coveted third one that I don't think I've heard any mixed reviews. I think everybody's, at least for me, unanimously enjoyed it. Some people love it, some people dislike it. It's okay. But I think to me, this third one was a tribute to nerds and blerds of all kinds with all the anime inspiration and like marks on it, from like exact scenes damn near being copied to them having like Naruto posters in the background for different places. It was very enjoyable for me. Like, I feel like a kid in a candy store, like, ooh, you see that? I know what that is. I know what that is. How did you guys feel about it initially? Just like a brief overview.
Well, I mean, for me, this felt like a legitimate Blerd event. Like, this felt like two Blerds like coming together to make a bigger thing. Like seeing John Majors and Michael B in this. Well, I was so much anticipating this, and I can't really think of the last time I had that much anticipation going into a movie. Like, period. Honestly, so I mean, just the fact that I was excited for this, and I can go into the movie theater and enjoy this movie to the level I did, is definitely a marker for me. So kudos for that. I got certain issues with it, but that's me more so nitpicking and talking about things that I prefer to see in films. But overall, it was definitely a positive experience for me.
Yeah, same. I agree. It was an event, and piggybacking off of the Blerd event of it. Think about this: it was a vast majority black or people of color cast, and at the theater I was at here in Burbank, California, it was a multicultural group of people that came out to see it. There were a bunch of white folks up in there, Latinos, blacks, Asians, everyone in the world was there. Think about that. The last time you saw it, a movie starring predominantly black cast had everyone in the world going to see it. I mean, I know Black Panther had some credit, but it was mainly from Disney pull too. But this is an event that doesn't happen often. And then with this, like you said, Otis, for it to be, you said this too, Charlie, for it to be celebrating Blerd culture so much, so blatantly, openly, and for it to be accepted that well, it's like, yo, this is something special. This is something different. So I could do Otis. I had some gripes here or there, but ultimately, it's a really, really fun time. I enjoyed it very much. Stephen A. Smith is in that movie for some reason, but other than that, it's still
because Max Kellerman got kicked off the show. That's why it's switched up to Stephen A.
but it was genuinely a fun time, man. I had a blast.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this the rare formula to this concoction of a movie is that you have the two main stars are people that are like on the top of Hollywood right now, right? Like Michael B being damn near the Rock level when it comes to superstardom in movies. Jonathan Majors is either right there or right behind him with having 3. I don't think Devotion was the number 1, but it's a great movie. Well, 4 now, because I don't know if you guys have seen Magazine Dreams yet. That's something I want to see.
I haven't. Yeah, I heard.
There's like 4 big movies out. One of them being a Marvel movie, the other one being Creed. The other ones aren't, like, I almost said AAA like their games, but they're not to that level, like big box office. But for you to have 4 movies out simultaneously where you're either the lead or a co-star, he's right there. He's about to be at that. He's about to be a superstar if he isn't already one. So I definitely enjoyed that, as well as all the nerd inspiration that was within this film and how Michael B hyped it up too. I think he gave out the specific Goku and Frieza scene, like the gut punch. He was promoting that everywhere, which side note to anybody that has issues with people being, whenever a celebrity says they're a fan of anime and they bring up something that you perceive as casual, just go home, go touch grass. I'm sorry. People can like what they like, and like I saw a million posts on all the nerd groups about him being a fake nerd or Megan being a fake nerd because
fake nerd.
They talked about the mainstream anime. They didn't talk about some random anime with a million, like, you know, the anime with like 15 different words in the name, because they don't watch that and promote that.
Some super off the beaten path anime that no one's ever heard of.
Like they like what they like. People act like they didn't watch those anime at all.
And like, you're not gonna pretend that DBZ wasn't like one of your anchors into nerddom in the first place,
right?
Like, we're not gonna, like, if you're a black nerd in America, there is no way that you aren't at least aware of people.
Yeah, we're doing a whole documentary about that now. It's like that's the single biggest thing that made Blerd culture exist was DBZ. in the 90s. And then also for a younger generation, for Charlie's, Naruto was there too. I mean, he had shout out to Naruto with the posters.
Both of them, honestly, because I was still running on Toonami when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that whole last fight scene was Obito versus Kakashi, bro. Like that was
the
what
point.
that was.
That's why I geeked out so much. This is my favorite fight scene, and one of my favorite fight scenes in all anime. Yeah.
All right, which we'll get into that too as well. I was geeked about that when I saw it. But that was just a side note because that was one thing that irked me up until and after this movie. People were still the corniness thing, which again, there's something to be said about black men being the only ones I see in media being called corny whenever they're into something nerdy, or I don't know. It's a whole thing, but that's something for a later day.
To hell with them.
But yeah, this film was great to me. First and foremost, I thought the choreography was and the way it was shot was at its peak at this movie to me.
Yeah.
Favorite fight forever and ever. All men will always be that first fight that Damien had against. I almost called him Canelo, but that's not his name.
No,
this is an actual fighter, right? That was acting in that role.
Was that real? I mean, it may have been. What was
what I saw? He was an actual fighter.
Probably was
the one that
was. He was badass. I can't remember his name right now. I'll look him up.
That was
Hector, maybe?
Something like that. But that was Felix. That's what it was. It was
Felix. Yeah, Felix.
Yeah, that was some anime shit. Like that fight, the way he was like slowly dismembered, like he saw a weakness that they pointed out in their first encounter, and he was slowly like breaking him down. I was like, damn, this is some anime shit, and he did it in a slick way.
I was like, felt like Hajime no Ippo, bro. Like watching. So I mean, going to the first fight of the movie when Creed is fighting like I can't remember his name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Conley. Yeah, he's Conley. Ricky Conley comes back, and he said it's the same old Creed.
You see like the moment where you see Creed dodging a punch, looking at where he's going. Like the way that they set that up, that felt so anime, like
pure anime. It's like Megalo boxing. Yeah.
Okay, let's get it. Like okay, same combo comes, dodge it. That's the spy. I'm gonna get him next round. Don't even trip.
Funny enough, in the videos I've seen of like Michael B talking about the inspirations, he mentioned all those anime as inspirations for these fights.
Yeah, he mentioned Ippo, he mentioned Megalobox, obviously DBZ, Naruto. Yeah, so
I mean, like for the people that are trying to like check his nerd cred, like stop it, because
what are you talking about?
The fact that he's in a position that he's in a big Hollywood film and incorporating any of this culture is huge, right? Like we've seen it done sloppily how many times before?
Every time before,
and this was clean. Like how many times have we seen people try to like sneak in an anime scene and it comes out stupid? Cough, cough. Nope.
The Akira style.
Like the double punch that Goku and Vegeta had.
It's from the fight, the second fight in the Buu Saga. Yeah.
Like it was clean, bro. Like it was very well done.
But it was palatable because you can't. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. You can't go so hard into the anime realm that you go Dragon Ball Evolution or whatever. It has to be like people who do not care about anime at all had to say, I have to be able to watch and enjoy this. I mean, non-casuals had to be able to watch and enjoy this movie as a boxing movie or a drama, what have you. However, the fans of those mediums can still appreciate what you're doing, can see the nods. That makes sense within the realm of boxing and enjoy it. The idea of having almost not a illusion eye, but being able to kind of see what's happening and predict or kind of
fucking Sharingan,
like Sharingan from Naruto, right? Having that kind of an eye to do those kind of things. For people that don't know what anime is at all, it can still enjoy what they're watching and say, "Oh, this is cool to have this effect in this movie." But for fans of anime, like, "Yo, that's dope," and he did that, snuck it in there. So it's for people to be upset about. That's crazy. I hate people. For people to be upset about that, it's like, what are you talking about? He's shining a light on these things so that we can do that much more later on.
But this has been a thing with him for a minute, though. People have called him corny and a fake anime nerd since he did that promo thing with whatever.
I don't care.
Which is wild. Which I feel like they turned on Meg fast because they used to love Meg about that. That was like everybody loved that she did that, and then all of a sudden she's fake because she does. I don't know.
What's wrong with people, man? Why do we want to hate on though? Why are we gatekeeping our own people? First of all, that's another thing.
I mean, it's part of that thing we talked about a while back with Ohead and Mike when we discussed people being bullied about it growing up, and now it's openly in like welcoming. Yeah. It's the whole thing, but
it's another episode, I guess.
Choreography was dope.
Please.
Moving into the characters and the development portion of it, I absolutely loved Damien Anderson. I thought it was like a perfect mirror into the Adonis creed of he's just as hungry as you were, had just as much natural ability, but he never got a chance that you got. And he's in there building up this rage because he's seeing you basically live his life essentially. And when he gets out, I was like, how old is he supposed to be? Because Buddy looks like he could be mid-20s or like late 30s. They kept making it a point to say he's old. I'm like, how old is he supposed to be?
40.
Yeah, he's supposed to be up there. He's supposed to be up there. Yeah, because obviously Jonathan Majors is maybe 30 something. He's in his 30s. But,
is he in his 30s?
He's in his 30s. I'm not sure. I'm trying to look it up right now. His exact age is, but yeah, he's still, they aged really well. Obviously, Black don't crack. Both, because the whole idea was Adonis retired in 2017, and this movie is set 5 years after that. And in boxing terms, athlete terms, that's a long time to be like, you have ring rust on you. And of course, they said that Damien was actually older than Adonis. So if that's the case, and Damien didn't have any professional fights under his belt, not really. So it's a long shot within a long shot.
Golden Gloves.
He was Golden Gloves back in the day.
Right.
He was a teenager.
Title shot is crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which it's why I think that's there's also the anime influence where you get people that just like progress really fast for no explicable reason. Yeah. But I mean, it made simple enough sense on why he got the title fight, I guess, and how he promoted it, because we've seen people promote it like that in other sporting events as far as like the underdog come up story or whatever else.
Well, even in Rocky, and they mentioned that, like, that's what happened to Rocky and Apollo in the first movie. Rocky was a nobody, and they deliberately had Apollo bring up a nobody for a publicity stunt, and he almost beat him. And the same thing happened with Felix versus Damien. So
same thing didn't happen because he put Felix in the
hospital. No, he destroyed him. Yeah, that was an unsettling fight watching those things happen.
Bro, you should have been in the theater I was at when that was going on. It was dead silent. People were silent? Like, oh shit. Like you could feel the tension in the entire room.
Yeah. People were cringing and stuff right in the theater. I was at that Cito and I were at,
And one thing I also liked about it, again, and I don't know if it's more anime theme or just something that he did well in that movie, where he showed the distinctive way that Adonis fought. Like he fought really unorthodox, the way he would.
Oh, you mean Damien?
Damien, yeah, I'm sorry. The way Damien would block, like with the two forearms up. Things where they're very unorthodox and they're not the way to go about them, but it also showed how Adonis was able to beat him with all those injuries and all that ring rust, because the guy he was fighting wasn't a trained fighter, so he was able to pick him apart. But it was just dope to see that brawler style. I love that style. Even like how the way he came in, not like it was almost like he was a southpaw almost, but it was like a weird version of it. Like it was, again, it felt very anime-ish.
It reminded me also of Mike Tyson back in the day too, because if y'all remember Mike Tyson back in the day when he first came out, when he was still his rookie season or whatnot, he didn't have all the hoopla. It was just him in his trunks, didn't have a cape or anything. He's walked out there, he was bowled out there basically. Almost kicked in the ropes. It knocked him out in the first minute and then walked off. That was how he did things. And he reminded me a lot of that. Even with the trunks, the black trunks he had on, but he was adjusting them over and over again. And he kept breathing hard. Where he would like put his hands up. And it's very much a wild, like you said, unorthodox prison training boxer.
My life goal is to have as much swag as he had on that beach when he confronted him. Like the swag that Buddy had, or even when he was like leaning on his car in like the beginning of the movie, he's like, "What up, bro?" I'm like, I aspire to have that much swag in my body, in my life, in my soul.
To have holes in your shoes, look homeless as hell, and still have that much. I was like, damn. I've seen countless homeless cats out here in LA, and none of them had that much swag.
You convinced me to do whatever the hell you wanted at that point. You said what?
I said it's a way of life.
It's a way.
That swag is crazy. That's why it's crazy. And I enjoyed their dynamic as well. As I thought the relationship between Adonis's I guess surrogate mother was very much so detailed in this one. And I said that gym scene was my favorite. I ain't gonna lie, this may be my favorite. This is my 1 and 2 as far as favorite scenes from the film, in which she's passing on and she's kind of hallucinating and believe that she's speaking to Apollo and talking about how you saved her. And I'm like, damn, bro, I was crying about it. You got me right here, bro. That shit killed me.
Because she thought she was talking to Apollo, and she was thanking, and she was saying, "Apollo, your son
saved me."
Yeah, so she doesn't know that she's talking to that son. Yeah,
That shit was, bro. That shit
yeah,
killed me,
but it made it full circle as far as when he back to the day when he was like 8 or 9, whatever, and she found him in the boys' home or the juvenile. He was in juvie. But yeah, I agree. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Yeah, there. Damien. So here's one thing too. Not to get too nerdy when it comes to writing. Y'all know how I am about writing. I can't stop sometimes. So Damien is meant to represent what they call a shadow. In writers' terms, sometimes a shadow isn't actually a physical manifestation at all. Usually it's not, but in this case it actually was. Damien was from his past, represent everything that he was trying to get away from, all of his dark sides, all the things that he had done, all his mistakes was represented by Damien, so to speak. And Damien actually looked essentially like a darker version of Adonis. He actually he went to prison for a long time. He boxed like a prisoner. He boxed like a former prisoner or a convict. He actually had he was a bigger version of that. He fought dirty, all these things. That's what that shadow self is, essentially. So what Adonis was doing was confronting his shadow self, so to speak.
It was dope.
Yeah, I mean, getting to some of the gripes on it. Well, one, I felt like they had a couple setups in that movie that they didn't actually fully pay off.
Yeah, no one.
Like the whole incident where the daughter, punched the girl at school.
Right.
Like I feel like they set up that to be more of a plot point within the movie, and it never really like actually materialized fully. Like it was addressed somewhat, but not really. They set up actually a bit of tension between Tessa Thompson